If you haven't seen the movie Arrival, you need to go. Go now. Go watch it. Hey y'all, Beth here from Dots and Beyond, back with another Plan With Me video. This month I'll be setting up January in my business bullet journal. Again, I do keep two separate bullet journals. And I am celebrating some of my favorite science fiction movies and television shows during 2021. So for January, I am starting with the movie Arrival, which is one of my top 5 movies of all time. I am keeping supplies fairly simple for this setup with just a little bit of washi, the Sakura fine liners, one Crayola super tip in the color pale green, and then because circles play an integral part of the plot line, I have my Helix circle maker nearby because I'm going to be using it an awful lot. I began by crafting my own circular font to use as an emphasis and accent font throughout the spread. So here I am just getting the month title down on the spread for January. I will come back and highlight that in just a few minutes. The jumping off point for this spread is the quote from the movie, "If you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things?" And that's one of those quotes that definitely resonates with me. Without giving away too much information, if you've not seen the movie Arrival, of course, aliens come to Earth, and the heroine of the movie, Louise, is a linguist at a local university who is called out to try to read the language of what we have named the heptapods. And it is a logogram language. It is a circle. And it can portray a single thought or an entire sentence in one single logogram. So here I am putting one of the logograms around this quote. It's probably not perfect, but I did find some samples online that I was able to copy, but it'll definitely get the point across in look and feel for the quote. How do you feel about that quote? Personally, I don't think I'd be strong enough to not change certain points in my past. I do think that if there were some things that I could go back and skip, I might do that. So let me know in the comments below. Are you tempted to possibly change something in your past if you were given the chance, or are you perfectly happy to keep on keeping on exactly the way that things have turned out for you? Based on the quote, I did get this idea to have our heroine, Louise, looking at essentially her life cycle within the confines of one of the logograms. And that's what I'm sketching out here. I found some clip art online of course, a baby, and then to a teenager, and then to an older woman. And just kind of sketched those out by hand, glancing at them online to see what I could come up with. And then, of course, trying to make them look like they're also a part of that logogram language of the heptapods. My oldest son thinks this is one of the coolest concepts that I have come up with yet in my bullet journaling journey. I do like the way that I executed it and the way that it came out. Sometimes I think maybe there should be something in the center of the circle of the logogram that Louise is looking at. I know that defeats the purpose. I do like empty space in my spreads, but that one I'm struggling with just a little bit, but I did leave it just as it is. And here I do come in and put in some highlights of that pale green color with that Crayola super tip. Moving on to my calendar and what I call my work-life balance spread. I am repeating January up in the top with the circular font that I created, as well as highlighting on the top of each page a couple of the logograms from the movie. And then on the left side of the page, I do prefer a linear calendar, especially in my work journal. I do put the dates and the days of the week down the middle. The column on the left is for me to record any events that I may have that day. I am an event manager by trade. The column on the right is for me to record appointments that I may have with clients, phone calls that I need to make, any sort of committee meetings that I may have within my organization. All of that goes on the opposite column from the events. My work-life balance tracker is more of a stress tracker for work specifically, but I do have the dates down the right side, and then across the top from right to left, so it's running backwards, are the hours from 7 a.m. until midnight, so that I can track what hours I am working in a particular day. My shifts do change pretty erratically depending on when my events take place. And then I have a highlight across 1 p.m. until 10 p.m. and that highlight is meant to just indicate a level of 1 to 10 for my stress levels, and that's where that bar graph comes into play. So I track my office days that I'm in the office for meetings or meeting with clients with a solid black line. My manager on duty shifts I track with a dotted black line. That's when I am on site at an event, working an event. I am now using the pale green solid line to track my work from home. We are limiting the amount of time that we spend in the office or with other people during this pandemic. And then I use a gray line to track my stress level for each day across those different shifts so that I can see which ones are actually causing me the most stress. And you would think that it would be while I'm a manager on duty, but that is not always the case. It actually does change depending on how my day goes. And then I am decorating the page with some of the logograms from the movie and a little bit of washi tape across the bottom just to sort of anchor the page. The next spread is my brain dump page and then what I am calling my captain's log. The captain's log was inspired by another YouTuber that I saw a video of many moons ago, and I cannot remember who that person was, but she writes a pep talk to herself every month in her bullet journal. So if anybody knows who that is, because that's a very specific habit to have in your bullet journal that we don't all do, please leave a comment in the box below and remind me of who that is. I've done some Googling, I've done some searching, and I still can't seem to track that person down, but I did remember that idea, and so I'm implementing that for each of my months in 2021. So as opposed to having sort of a monthly review in my work journal, I'm going to be writing myself a pep talk at the beginning of every month. And yes, there will be some reflection from the month before, but I am suffering a little bit from some imposter syndrome. I was one of only 2 of 7 event managers that made it through pandemic cuts. And so there's a little bit of why me, even though I do know my worth. I think I talked about that in a prior video, but I'm just going to use this space to do that. And then on the right is my ideas page. This is my mind map or my brain dump. I don't particularly like the phrase brain dump. One of the reasons I love the movie Arrival is because it is so beautifully shot. And the artwork here is inspired by 2 different scenes. One of them, obviously, that cylindrical looking object is the alien ship sitting down in a valley, and then the other one is inside the alien ship as they are looking at one of the logograms. I really went back and forth on whether I was going to paint these, especially the scene with the ship in the valley. That one is a little bit more elegant, obviously on film with fog rolling over the top of the hill, but ultimately I decided that I was going to keep it fairly simple, and that is that spread. Again, touching off with a little bit of washi tape. This next spread is for me to put down the monthly goals for January. I will link my 2021 setup up in the cards for this business bullet journal. My business journal typically only lasts me about a quarter. I do fill it up very quickly, so it'll only make it through January, through March, maybe a little bit into April if I'm lucky. And so I narrowed it down to just 2 focuses or 2 goals for the quarter. And then I broke those down into monthly goals, and then this lets me break them down into weekly goals. So there's 3 columns for January, February, and March, and then weeks 1 through 5 under focus 1, and weeks 1 through 5 under focus 2, for me to really break down those work-related goals for January. And then of course I round out the monthly spread with a quote that brings the movie Arrival quite literally full circle. and that is, despite knowing the journey and where it leads, I embrace it and I welcome every moment of it. Below the quote, I recreated the logogram symbol for Earth. If you've seen the movie Arrival, let me know down in the comments below if you like it as much as I do. And it's okay if you don't. We can all have our own opinions. I just like to see what other people think about some of the same films that I know and love very, very much. I'm going to touch off this spread with a little bit of color, and then we will move on to my first weekly for January. Here on the first weekly for January, I'm finally going to sketch in what the humans affectionately refer to as Abbott and Costello, who are the heptapods from the film that we see them communicate with. That is about the only decoration this page will have. I do need a lot of space to write in my work journal for every single day. So most days do get a half a page, and then I have a rolling task list. I was personally struggling with combining the creative elements of bullet journaling with the original, just straightforward method for work purposes until I stumbled across Elizabeth from Plant-Based Brides rolling weekly with her faux Dutch door. And this is hands down the best layout for me. It doesn't change very much. It's not going to get very exciting from video to video. I've been using this since February of 2020, and it definitely works best for me. So that's what I'm setting up here. I have a mini calendar on the left. I have a spot for my goals, Focus 1 and Focus 2, just to reiterate those on the weekly, what I'm doing that particular week for those goals. Here's my little sketch of Abbott and Costello, and then I have a full 2/3 of a page for my task list, and then a half a page for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then quarter pages for Saturday and Sunday. Again, as an event manager, my weeks can be really, really crazy, and sometimes I am working on the weekends, and I do need to separate those and have more space than a normal person would have on the weekend. And then finishing it off with a little bit of washi before we do the flip through. And that is the setup for my work journal for January of 2021, highlighting the movie Arrival. Again, I have my cover page with my favorite quote from the movie. Calendar and work-life balance. Again, make sure you follow me on Instagram if you want to see how that work-life balance chart plays out, because I will post it there when it is completed. My captain's log, which will be my monthly pep talk to myself, as well as my ideas/mind map page. Goals for the month, as well as another quote from the film. And then my first weekly, of course, with the rolling weekly and the faux Dutch door. Thank you for being a part of this setup today for January 2021. Please go ahead and subscribe and like this video and let me know how you feel about the movie. Until next time, happy journaling.